Hey guys, how's it going? So, in case you guys missed me, I'm back, but I hope everyone's doing good. And I want to start off by saying Merry Christmas, Dana Nessel, but we'll get to that story in the second half. I want to start off with something a little more urgent and more important that's going on right now. I mean, Christmas is very important. It's actually of the utmost importance, but we'll get to Dana Nessel in a few minutes because she kind of ties into the lead story and made a debacle of herself totally on her own. She's a real beauty. Real beauty. Trust me on that. So the date is April 12th, 1861. And the date is December 8th, 2020. And during both of those times, there were stark divides in these United States of America. A divide that ultimately started off with shots fired in 1861 on April the 12th, and that's known as the United States Civil War. And people have asked me before, hey, are we going to have a civil war in this country? Well, I think war is going to be inevitable at one point in time. Do I want one right now? No. I don't think anybody really wants, but the North and the South are at it again. And this comes from the rigging, the plagued election fraud, the disease, the virus. They call it so many things. I can't even remember what they call it anymore, but clearly it fundamentally changed America in many ways, including this election in 2020, where ballots were mailed out in mass, applications for ballots by mail that, in my opinion and many other people's opinions, really got rid of the integrity and the security that we've known to accept in the United States of America. Because I've said it before and I'm going to say it again because it's so important and we can't forget this. Really, there's only two things that make the United States of America different than every other country. And by the way, we don't want to be like other countries. We're never going to be a communist country, okay? And tell people that. Stand up. The United States of America is never going to be a communist country, and who's going to stop it? Me and you and all the good patriots in this country. But the two things are our fair and free elections and our justice system, where there's no two tiers of justice. We're supposed to have one justice system. Lady Justice. What a beautiful statue of a lady standing there with a blindfold. She can't see. She doesn't know if you're rich. She doesn't know if you're poor. She doesn't know if you're a Democrat or a Republican, or if your last name is just Syons, Michael Syons, a great patriot I see in the chat, or if your last name is Clinton. She doesn't know the difference. At least she's not supposed to. And the scales represent justice. And the sword she's holding, that's actually the most important part. She's holding a sword in the other hand, meaning she's going to fight for our justice. Now, what is a statue? What is a piece of parchment paper with the quill and the ink from 240 years ago? Well, that's what America is. But it's nothing more than an inanimate object. Except for one thing, the American people. You, me, all the people who still believe in America and still believe in free and fair elections. Well, I'm not going to rehash all of it here. We've talked about it a lot on this channel, and many other channels better than mine have probably fully informed you guys. But many people in this country, you know, they say from different polls they've done, like you can really believe any polls nowadays, but just saying that between 1/3 to 1/2 of the people in this country don't believe there was a free and fair election. Even Democrats I've talked to, the reasonable ones, there's still a few reasonable ones left. Not the AOC +3, but I've even met some somewhat reasonable Democrats. I don't know how they vote that way. That's not where I want to go with this, though. But still, they said they don't even want it to go down like this. I've literally talked to Biden voters lately, a few of them, and they said, look, we hope Biden won. We voted for Biden, but we don't even want it to go down like this. At least I'll give them credit. At least those people, although they may think differently than me, they still believe in the fundamental election system of America and these free and fair and uninhibited elections. We saw what happened in Detroit in the Cobo Center. They call it TCF now, whatever. How the election was over, they said, for the night. No more ballots to count. Nothing to see here. Go home. Okay? And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, they came in with their coolers, with big unmarked vans, radio flyer wagon, amongst many, many other things. And how poll watchers were bullied and kicked out. And then when people started making a stink saying, why are you kicking out the poll watchers? Because that's the law. That's part of a free, fair, and open election. They put the cardboard over the windows. You guys, even if you're not from Michigan, you saw that, right? I hope they broadcasted it in your states. I know I saw it for sure. And all the votes that came in the middle of the night, like 100% of them were for Joe Biden and 0 were for President Trump. Now, does that 100% prove? Does that 100% prove that Trump really won Michigan? Not necessarily in and of itself, but at the very least, it gives an appearance of a rigged election, of a bias. And if there's even the appearance of that in this republic, right? This country that was founded amongst men to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people. When the people see this appearance, at the very least, and I'm being very, very moderate by saying that right now, but if it even gives the appearance where a third to half the people in this country don't believe there was a fair election. Now, there was a water main break in Georgia, right? The devil went down to Georgia, indeed, on November 3rd, and much before that, probably for the last couple of years. Now that more things are coming out, there was a water main break. Everybody had to leave. Nothing to see here. And I was watching on the Steven Crowder stream yesterday morning where they showed what happened when the water main broke. Because, see, actually they found out later there really wasn't a water main break. It was a leaky toilet because you can only flush so many Trump ballots down the toilet before it clogs and overflows. It was a leaky toilet. Nothing to see here. So people left. Most of the people, but everyone didn't leave. There was about 4 people left behind. They started scurrying around, and they started pulling out large containers, boxes, whatever you want to call them, gaylords of ballots. And they fed them through the machines as fast as they could without any supervision from poll watchers. And it just so happened to be around that same time period in Georgia. Now, Georgia and Michigan are very far away, but they seem to have a lot in common. That same time of night, all of the votes that were tallied through. And people have done the math now. They looked at how many votes can these machines count in a certain period of time. And then they looked at how many votes could come through. And that's about how many came through during those 4 hours when they had the water main break. And those votes happened to be essentially all, if not all, for Joe Biden. In Wisconsin, you had areas where more people voted than were registered to vote. Now, that doesn't include the dead people, just more people, whether they were dead or alive, and more dead people voted in this election than ever before. All kinds of people voted. Good people, bad people, people that weren't even people, dead people. Hey, he was a Republican his whole life. His whole life. He voted for Ford. He voted for Reagan. He even voted for Bush. He voted for McCain. He voted for Romney. He voted for Trump. But then when he passed away, the first chance he got in the afterlife, he arose and he casted his vote for Joe Biden. You hear a lot of stories like that. And there was another story that was documented. I mean, literal proof. Felix was a good cat, and he was the family cat, and they loved him, and he was a great cat, no disrespect. But when they found out that there was a mail-in ballot sent to their home for their cat, thankfully, those were good people. They sent it back, right, to their local election officials and said, this is kind of funny. Now, it's not just that this was an extraordinarily awesome cat. God rest his soul, the cat had already been dead for over 10 years at that point in time. How many people's cats voted in this election? In Wisconsin, more people voted in certain precincts, in certain large areas, than there were people. Just let that sink in for a second. Now, I have no omnipresent view of this. I wasn't there at all these places. I couldn't possibly know exactly what happened, but something stinks really bad, right? Something's rotten in Denmark here. And I'm not going to go as far as to say I can prove exactly what happened, but I'll tell you what. This is called the American people, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And when 1/3 to 1/2 of the people say they do not have faith that this was a free and fair election, that means there's something wrong. Now they're finding out in Georgia, well, half of the envelopes were separated from the ballots and the envelopes where the signature is. So they can't recount. And then they seal the containers and they can't recount. And they just say, shut up, you're dumb. Joe Biden won, get over it. Move on with your life. Well, if I knew Joe Biden won, I would indeed move on from my life. And here's how I can prove it. And this is something for you guys to remember. I was alive during the whole entire 2 terms of the Obama administration. Didn't vote for him. Was not happy he won, but I made it through. Okay. And I'm okay. I can deal with losing, but when you don't have faith in an election, it's not so simple, right? Just to say, hey, you lost, get over it, it's done with. Because the media keeps telling us, and they're going to put it underneath this video when it's over, as they do any of my videos. As soon as I put election in the title, right, they immediately put this warning and said, we have decided, the Associated Press has decided that Joe Biden has won the presidential election. Now, they put that there way before states even started to certify. They put that there actually on November 3rd, when there was the not a water main break in Georgia, and they were counting all the votes. They were 100% for Biden. They were doing that when the TCF Center was, quote, closed down, but it really wasn't, and only votes came in for Biden. Okay? And they did it while they were still litigating everything in Pennsylvania. I think it's called Act 77, that was completely unconstitutional. The legislature that passed it realized they didn't go through all of the proper, steps that you have to have a true bona fide law. They immediately told us it was over before we even had a chance to look. And in the book 1984, which I was reading from yesterday, they talk about this same exact stuff in there. Like, the mainstream media will tell you what's going on, and you'll just listen to it. If not, there could be severe consequences for you. So what's going on right now? We have people living in Michigan, such as myself, and in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Georgia, and we're completely disgusted by all this. We're like, what the heck happened here? Now, we're not embarrassed of the regular people that we, live with and hang out with, but we're embarrassed of our states. It's like, what the heck's going on? And then you have the South. And today, the Texas AG Paxson announced that he is suing these states, not because he has direct jurisdiction over the states, but because he's an American, and he's an American attorney general. And how the United States election goes the president for Texas and all of these 50 states. So I'm going to pull up an article here and go over it real quick. And I hate doing this, and it sucks, but I pulled up purposely a pretty liberal biased source that I'm going to read from, so you guys can hear both sides of the story. I'm going to say more of the liberal side of the story as I read this, and I'm going to interject where I disagree, because I do disagree with the article. But I'm going to say this first and foremost: God bless Texas. And now I'm finding out that the AG of Louisiana's come forth and said he's going to sign on to this lawsuit. And there's about 8 more states that I haven't seen the official press release yet, but are rumored to also be joining this lawsuit. So we could end up with essentially almost the whole South of the United States joining in, saying, no, we're part of America. If these swing states, the ones I'm talking about here, if they did not follow their own election laws, because Article 2 of the United States Constitution states how this works. State legislatures make laws, and many of those laws were not followed. There was lots of gross impropriety. There were all kinds of things that, again, even if it has the appearance of impropriety, that is not considered to be a legit election, because if half the people in the country don't believe in something, we do have a problem, don't we? And that's what they're saying. At minimum, 1/3 up to 1/2 of the people in the United States of America do not believe that there was a fair and free election. So I'm going to share this here so you guys can maybe follow along. Depending if you're watching on your phone or computer, hopefully you can read it a little bit. All right, let's take a look at this. All right, it looks like it's popped up here. And this is from the Detroit Free Press, okay? And it starts off, we're going to get to AG Nessel in a minute because she's going to come into play here. And then, like I said, to start off this very stream, Merry Christmas, Dana Nessel. That's a whole nother funny story in and of itself. It starts off, and this is updated at 6:15 p.m. on December 8th. And it says, Texas AG sues Michigan over election results, asks Supreme Court to disqualify electors. Lansing, the Texas Attorney General is suing Michigan over its election results in a U.S. Supreme Court filing loaded with inaccurate claims and flawed analysis. So that clearly tells you how this author is going to slant this right from the get-go. In a motion seeking approval to file a complaint, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton asked the High Court to stop Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Wisconsin from certifying their election results and nullify or disregard their electoral votes, citing large increases in absentee ballots cast in those states. And that's 100% true there. Very, very large increases in absentees. I don't know, anyone could debate that. That just is what it is. And that's, in my opinion, where most of these problems started from. Republican President Donald Trump is anxious to get a presidential election case in front of the Supreme Court, but legal experts said Tuesday the chances of Paxton's case being heard are extremely slim. They said they are not aware of any other cases challenging the November 3rd election results that the Supreme Court, which late on Tuesday rejected an election challenge from Pennsylvania, is likely to hear. And I would note, the United States Supreme Court has rejected the case. So, for everyone that said that Amy Coney Barrett would save us, hopefully, I'm really anxious for this Texas and other states lawsuit, but it's not going to come down to the courts, guys. It's going to come down to we the people, if you want my honest opinion. In the complaint, Paxton falsely alleges, gosh, this must be an op-ed. I can't believe they're calling this journalism, because I'm not a journalist, guys. I am an opinion. Like, when you're watching this, I think it should be obvious that's what this is, right? An opinion show. But wow, it's hard to read this, but I'm going to try to get through it. In a complaint, Paxton falsely alleges that Michigan, along with the other states, changed election laws related to absentee ballots by executive fiat or friendly lawsuits, thereby weakening ballot integrity. Paxton, a Republican and Tea Party conservative, who is a former member of the Texas legislature, further alleges government officials in Michigan and other states, quote, flooded the defendant states with millions of ballots to be sent through the mails or placed in drop boxes with little or no chain of custody. Michigan significantly altered its election law related to absentee voting through a 2018 referendum approved by Michigan voters, which moved Michigan to any reason absentee voting, among other changes. Well, here's what this tells me. It tells me they started the fix. The fix has been in since at least 2018. Now, many people are going to say a lot before that, but this was a well-planned thing, is what this tells me. 2018 is when they started the ball rolling on this. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, which I would note is another real beauty. Indeed. Sent applications for absentee ballots to all Michigan voters, but not actual ballots, as many have falsely claimed. And as the excerpt from Paxton's filing implies. Now, look, guys, I'm a Michigander, okay? And I can tell you right now, they did mail these things to our houses, okay? And they didn't just do it once. They didn't just do it twice. I actually have quite a few of these. So let me change this screen over real quick to this. Okay, this is what it looked like. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, Lansing, Michigan. Now, who paid for these? The American and the Michigan taxpayer in this case. Official election mail authorized by the U.S. Postal Service. Postage paid, Lansing permit. That means our tax dollars. And it came out with this nice letter right here. I'm just showing you guys what got sent here in Michigan, because there's all these rumors of what did they send Michiganders? What didn't they? Well, guess what? I happen to have it right here. I have a copy. Now, there's many they sent us. Not just one, but like we kept getting these over and over. So randomly, I have the one for me right over here. And then this is for the beautiful, most beautiful ever, Mrs. Patriot EDU, the one I have in my hand. And she's a real beauty, like in the true sense. These other ones, when I say real beauties, it's like, they're the other kind of real beauties. But speaking of which, Jocelyn Benson, the state of Michigan, Department of Land saying, dear registered voter, you have the right to vote by mail in every election. Really? I don't remember reading that in the Declaration of Independence or in the Bill of Rights, but who am I? I'm just a plebe. I'll shut up and keep reading the dictates from the dear leader. Voting by mail is easy, convenient, and secure. During the outbreak of China virus 19, it also enables you to stay at home and stay safe while still making your voice heard in our elections. And your dead cat's voice and your grandfather, God rest his soul, he was a Republican his whole life until the election. She doesn't say that. As I said before, this is an opinion show, guys. There are 2 upcoming elections in Michigan this year, a statewide election in August and a national election in November. If you would like to vote by mail in these elections, you can request that your clerk mail your ballot directly to you. Oh, wait a minute. I thought Detroit Free Press said they wouldn't mail a ballot right to you. Why am I having to fact check the Detroit Evening News? Well, I guess I have to, because if I don't, nobody else will. Let me go back to this again real quick here. It says, as many as have falsely claimed. It says, sent applications for absentee ballots to voters, but not actual ballots. This is literally what it says. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson sent applications for absentee ballots to all Michigan voters, but not actual ballots, as many have falsely claimed, and as the excerpt from Paxson's filings implied. That's according to the Detroit Free Press tonight. Let me read this one more time. If you would like to vote by mail in these elections, you can request that your clerk mail your ballot directly to you. Okay, clerk, mail your ballot directly to you on the official letterhead of the Secretary of State. So they sent the ballots to the people. All right. You can make this request electronically by going to michigan.gov/vote. You can also send an absent voter ballot by completing the enclosed form. After you've signed the form, you can submit it in any of the following ways. Option 1. Tell me how secure this sounds. Scan or take a photo of the form that clearly shows your signature and email it to your clerk at the email address included on the bottom of your AV application, or you can mail or drop off the form to your local clerk at the address included at the bottom of your AV application. Go to michigan.gov/vote for more information on how to return your absent voter ballot application, including electronic return options. Democracy is essential to the success of our nation. Really? Are we a straight democracy? I don't think so. Because when Ben Franklin was asked right after the founding of this country, what have we, sir? A monarch or a republic? He said a republic, if we can keep it. This country was not formed as a democracy or as a straight democracy, because a straight democracy is literally nothing more than 2 wolves and 1 sheep voting over what's for dinner. It's mob rule. It's bully rule. And a lot of people do feel quite bullied under the leadership in Michigan and many other states right now. She says democracy is essential to the success of our nation, and your vote is the foundation of our democracy. I don't see the word republic here anymore. Constitutional republic. I don't see her mentioning the Bill of Rights or the Declaration of Independence. Thank you for doing your part by being a registered voter and making your voice heard. Yeah. Okay, so then attached to it, sorry guys, my voice is a little dry. I should have brought something to drink over here with me. It starts off here. Which elections? Michigan, absent voter ballot application. It goes through all of this information. I'm trying to redact some of it because it has some personal info on here. It has all of the instructions. Now, here's the thing I don't get. You can fill this out, and then they're going to mail the ballot to you. It says so right here. I don't care what the Detroit Free Press says. It says right here in this letter, they're going to mail the ballot to you. Okay? These just came unsolicited, too. I didn't ask for this. I didn't request this. It just came here to me. Just came here to me and the missus, unsolicited. And all it's wanting is my signature, my address, and that's really about it. So there could be a signature of someone on one of these. Who would it be? I don't know. I don't know whose it would be. But it casts a lot of doubt in my opinion. And it's casting doubt in a lot of people's opinion. So what happens when you have, look, you guys probably have stuff just like this in a lot of your states who are watching here. Because I know a lot of you are from Michigan, but certainly not everybody, right? This is not how I remember elections being. The stuff that happened in the middle of the night. Stuff that at the very, very least, and you guys know that I think it was rigged, but I'm trying to be just fair here a little bit, right? At the very least, anybody that's even, I don't care if you wanted Joe Biden to win or not, you have to admit that there was at least a little bit of the appearance, or more like a lot of bit of appearance of some type of impropriety, right? And we can't have that. We can't have that where we have half of the country saying that this was not a free and fair election and that it didn't go down right. I found my bottle here. All right, let me share this. Let me keep on going through this article. Maybe I just don't understand. Maybe I'm too dumb to understand mainstream media. I just had to stop when I was reading through that. And it said that they weren't mailing out any ballots because it says so on the letterhead of the Secretary of State, his, her, Z, herself, himself, whatever she even is. I don't know what these people identify as. So according to Z herself, it said, and I'm being honest, I really have no idea who these people are, to be honest with you. All right, let's go further here. Further, Paxson claims that the odds of President-elect Joe Biden winning all 4 states, given Trump's early lead in those states, and unofficial election returns, were less than 1 in a quadrillion. No, he's giving Joe Biden a better chance than me. I was going to say it was 1 in 2 quadrillion, to be honest with you, but all right. But he does not provide the mathematics for how he arrived at such an extraordinary number in 4 states where Biden was either ahead or he and Trump were polling closely in advance of the election. That's interesting. So they're saying unofficial election returns. So when they want to, they say unofficial. You got to notice the details when you're reading this stuff. Because they're literally trying to program you to just shut up, plebe. Shut up, peasant. Just go to work. Become our tax slave. Just shut up and do what you're told. They don't want us to actually read what this says. So they're saying in an unofficial returns. Okay? But yet within minutes, voting is now opened in the United States of America. Bloop, the AP has now decided that Joe Biden is the 46th president. The AP does not give out official election predictions. And for people that went to public schools, I know you guys know this, humor me here. AP stands for the Associated Press. It's a big press company, a big press conglomerate that sells articles out to smaller local newspapers. And they have their own journalists and photographers and their own big press machine, right? And they sell off stuff to, say you live in a little town and you get the Brighton Press and Argus. Maybe your local Brighton reporter couldn't make it to Los Angeles to look at the mostly peaceful protest besides the pillaging and killing and burning down and billions in damage. Other than that, it was mostly peaceful. Your local town's journalists might not be able to go out there, so they'll buy a story from the AP and publish it in your local newspaper or website in today's day and age. That's what the AP is. But they're supposed to be treated as official. Like the AP said it, it's over. Let me try to get through this article that, in my opinion, is absolutely terrible. But he did not provide the mathematics for how he arrived at such an extraordinary number in those 4 states where Biden was ahead, blah, blah, blah. Further, his analysis disregards the fact that early unofficial results are based on ballots counted and reported out by various local clerks at that time. In many cases, such as Detroit and Wayne County, that was the TCF Center. Hey, no more votes to count, nothing to see here. Poll watchers went home. The vans pulled in. The people came in. They said it was their launch, but it was one of those like 4 foot by whatever, huge cooler. They could barely pull it behind them due to the weight of their orange pop or whatever they were drinking in there, right? Nothing to see here in those coolers, though, trust me. Conspiracy theorists. We're all weirdos for even questioning that. So therefore, just put the cardboard over the windows. That's Detroit and Wayne County. In many cases, such as Detroit and Wayne County, absentee ballot counts were among the last votes to be reported. Printed, did it say, or reported? And Trump had actively discouraged his supporters from voting absentee, while Democrats had encouraged the practice. In light of the Kung Flu pandemic. Told you guys, this flu has about everything to do with this. The suit also includes claims about Republican poll watchers being prevented from doing their jobs at TCF Center in Detroit. An allegation rejected by judges in several Michigan cases. Telling you, the judicial system, not impressed. Not impressed at all right now. Now we're going to get to a quote here from Paxton. Trust in the integrity of our election process is sacrosanct and binds our citizenry and the states in this union together. I totally agree with him. That's just a much bigger lawyerly speak for what I was trying to say. Like, if something smells rotten in Denmark and like we don't trust it, it just ain't right. That's basically what he said, but he's a lawyer and I'm just a plebe. Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin destroyed that trust and compromised the security and integrity of the 2020 election. The states violated statutes enacted by their duly elected legislatures, thereby violating the Constitution. And it's a very simple argument, but I think it's quite the eloquent argument, really, because that is what this comes down to. I know half the people do trust it, but you know what? When half the people in the country don't trust, it's kind of sort of a big deal. I mean, it's a huge deal. Really, couldn't be any bigger deal than this right now. Now we get to the real beauty. Not the beautiful type like Mrs. EDU, truly gorgeous in every way, and all of your lovely wives and the lovely women watching. Not like that. This is when we say beauty, this is beauty in the other kind of way. Here she is. You guys ready? Bum, 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 bum. Hi, Susan. Besides Susan, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel said in the filing, Dana Nessel is a publicity stunt, not a serious legal pleading. The erosion of confidence in our democratic system isn't attributable to the good people of Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, or Pennsylvania, but rather to partisan officials like Mr. Paxton, who place loyalty to a person over loyalty to their country, Nessel said in a news release. There might be like 2 people in Michigan more partisan than, or tied for more partisan than Nessel, and that would be none other than Whitmer and the great beauty Jocelyn Benson. These are the most political people I've ever met. I'm just going to put at the end, like, yeah, this is like the pot calling the kettle black at the end of that quote, because that's a little bit Coming from her? Wow, that's all I have to say about that. Goes on further. Now is here we're going to come in. Here's where they're going to come in and bring the people with the big titles behind their names. Just shut up, peasantry. Listen, Dr. So-and-so told you how this country's supposed to go. So listen up here. James Gardner, a specialist in election law at the University of Buffalo School of Law, said the chances of the Supreme Court hearing this case are 0. And that was a quote. Texas can't legally claim that it has been harmed by the election practices of other states. And even if it could, the suit was filed too late, Gardner said. Well, that's an interesting argument because guess what? The president of these United States is also the president of Texas and Louisiana and these other states that are soon to be joining this lawsuit. Yeah. And the fact that it's filed too late, they tried to file these suits early, and then the courts all rejected it saying it's too early. There hasn't been any damages yet. You have to wait till it all hashes out. Until the states have certified, it's just too early. No damage, no harm, no foul. So then as soon as they go to all certify their elections and they're like, now we've officially been harmed. You guys follow me on this? And then they sued. They said, well, now you're too late. Give me a break. This stuff literally is an insult to read. It requires a listener to be much dumber than the speaker. And the speaker is so dumb, I'm surprised I can still read it all. But I'm going to try to finish this for you guys. So this Mr. Gardner, he's of the specialist in election law at the University of Buffalo School of Law. What is really going on, he said, is a continuation of the Trump administration's use of the court for public relation purposes and to continue its narrative that the election was stolen. The Trump campaign is also showing, in quotes, a profound disrespect, for the rule of law, he said. I'm just reading the quote, guys. The 3 dots were in there. It's getting even better. Carl Tobias, a law professor at the University of Richmond in Virginia, that sounds fancy, agreed that Texas likely lacks legal standing to bring a court case, challenging what happened in other states and that the lawsuit is not timely. It was too early last week, they said. Now it's too late. Look, 5 minutes ago they said it's too early. They've not certified yet. There's no harm. How do you know? It's not official. Then they say it's certified. They call it safe harbor. They call it many things, but it's called safe harbor. And then they're like, okay. Within minutes of that, they sue and they're like, too late. You're done. Just shut up. Go home. The lawsuits are not timely. The Supreme Court can take initial jurisdiction of cases involving disputes between one or more states. That's actually true. Hold on. There's a but, though. But that original jurisdiction is rarely invoked and typically happens in connection with disputes over a body of water or a compact between or among states, Tobias said. The great Tobias continues. This case is not going to be heard by the Supreme Court. Shut up, plebes. Go lay down and turn on your phonograph. But turn on the record player. Somebody else said that. I would bet any amount of money on that. That's what he said. Both Tobias and Gardner said none of the election lawsuits they are aware of that have been filed by the Trump campaign or its allies have a realistic chance of being heard by the Supreme Court. This is another way of saying just go home. Nothing to see here. We put the cardboard up in the TCF Center, and now we're just saying it's... The Trump campaign and its supporters have filed a range of lawsuits in Michigan and other states cited by Paxton in an effort to overturn election results showing Biden elected president. Almost without exception, judges have rejected the claims. Here we go. Beauty alert. Beauty alert. Get ready. Get ready. Don't let the missus catch you watching this text from such a beauty here. You might get in trouble. Nessel. Look, it's a different kind of beauty. Nessel said the Michigan issues raised in the Paxton complaint have already been thoroughly litigated and roundly rejected in both state and federal courts by judges appointed by officials from both parties. Wow. The great one continues, and she says, Mr. Paxton's actions are beneath the dignity of the office of Attorney General and the people of the great state of Texas. And I would note that Merry Christmas is indeed beneath the integrity and the dignity of the Attorney General of Michigan. I'm going to get to that story in just a minute. The FBI, oh boy, the alphabet soup boys always have to come into this. It's not done until they get involved. The FBI recently opened a criminal investigation into claims that Paxton abused his office to benefit a wealthy donor. The AP, back to them again, reported in November 21st. And then they go on to talk about Paxton and his alleged probe. And I'm not going to read this anymore because if I keep reading it, I'll probably be too retarded to know how to read. Do you guys start to feel the same way? I try to have a little bit of fun with this because it's like, really? The Attorney General of Michigan has said, yeah. As soon as they say that, they say, the Attorney General of Michigan has now stepped in the room. And I go, because you already know what she's going to say before she even says it. Let's see who's in here tonight. How are you guys doing, by the way? Oh, boy, lots of good people, actually. I was kind of reading the articles and didn't notice you guys, but I'm glad to see you here. Joe Morgan, what's up, man? Old Coasty, how you doing? We have Matt Morrison, what's up? Jeremy Wilson, how you doing, Jeremy? Thomas Teak, we've got Adam Waffle Division. Thank you, Texas. Yes, sir. God bless Texas, and thank you. And Merry Christmas to you. Rod Brown, what's up? The Reptile guys. Amber, how you doing? There he is, the Texas Outlaw, Michael Science. When I was in like the waning 2 minutes, Michael, if you're still here, like right when it was counting down to go live, an alert popped up on my phone and you did a video that was very similar to this. I'll confess, guys, I was actually like 3 minutes late to this one because I was sitting there with my little Bluetooth on and my phone, you know, just like Obama. I've got my pen and I've got my phone and I was sitting there selfishly listening and watching the rest of Michael Science video before I came on. So figured I'd confess that to you guys. Josh Benware, what's happening, man? And he literally just said he just watched Michael Science video. God bless Texas, Josh, if you're still in here. I know he's from Texas. Rusty Williams, another Michigan guy in the house. Daniel DeLeon, what's up? We got Michael Walker. How's it going? Yeah, they better get this crap right. Look, if we lose this republic, it'll be another 1,000 years at least till there's ever truly another government that was founded upon this great experiment of the people, by the consent of the people, for the people, that we give consent to be governed. And that if they go against our means of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that they are to be abolished. Many people say, and I said this yesterday, but it's true, they say it could be another 1,000 years before this could come back around. And we want better than that for our children and grandchildren. We want a lot better than that. We need to keep what we have and go from there and improve it. But at the very least, we need to stop the steal right now. Millbury, what's happening? M.I. Crafter, cheater, 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 he says. Yeah. Yeah. Amber brings up a good point because that is true. Before the election, they said it'll take months before you know about the election results. You guys remember that? She says, why would they say before the election it would take weeks to maybe months before we knew who president was? What's going on while we were distracted by the election? Well, a lot of things are going on. They call it the Kung Flu. They call it so many things. I can't remember where it is. They call it the Great Reset. They call it the New World Order. The United Nations, of course, chimes in. They call it Agenda 21, Agenda 31. I mean, it's scary stuff. Make 1984 fiction again. They warned us all summer long. They said this election could take weeks or months before we know who the winner is. The polls have now opened for the election 2020, and the AP has now decided that President Biden is the 46th president of the United States. And then they were like, well, wait a minute. Trump's up in Pennsylvania and Georgia and Michigan and Wisconsin. And at that time, even Virginia. And people say Trump actually won California. I'm not joking. People are literally saying Trump won California. Do you guys remember? I think it was the Attorney General of Pennsylvania. He said, just wait, just wait. If we keep counting the votes long enough, We will keep counting them until Biden wins the state of Pennsylvania. That's what he said. Now, Amber's absolutely right. She's a smart woman. And I'm inspired by people like her and you all. She's reminding us that they said this whole summer long, it's going to take months before we know. On November 3rd, the polls have now opened, and they didn't even pause. They didn't even stop. They literally said, and welcome to the 2020 election coverage on Fox News. And the polls have now opened, and Joe Biden is now the 46th president of the United States. And there's no fraud. There was just a water main break, and the windows were covered, and more people voted in these big precincts in Wisconsin than there were actual people. But none of that would have had anything to do with the influence on the election. We might have found, sure, we found a few, tens of thousands of dead people here and there. There was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of votes that were voted for unsupervised, therefore illegal in those states such as Georgia, Michigan, and others. But come on now. Biden won Georgia by 14,000 votes. There's no way that the hundreds of thousands of votes that were illegally counted could have possibly had anything to do with that. Hundreds of thousands of votes are just a small number when the state was only, quote, won, according to them, by 15,000. Nothing to see here. Don't worry that all these mail-in ballots didn't even have folds or creases in them. Therefore, they couldn't have even been in an envelope. And we've seen pictures and video evidence of that now. Don't even worry about it. It doesn't even matter. These are just such isolated incidents. Vans full of them, hundreds of thousands of votes. This is just such a minor thing. We need to just move on and get on with the Green New Deal and the Paris Climate Accord and the 32-page gun control bill, which is confiscation and a 50-cent tax on ammo, and no parts for any guns would be available online or ammunition. Ammo shortage 2020. You ain't seen nothing yet, boys and girls. If Biden's gun control gets through, if he somehow gets installed into office, think about it. No online, 50 cents a round tax with the shortages we have now. Don't worry about it, though. We need to focus more on climate control. We need to focus on all the various different agendas and proclamations of the Great Economic Reset. It's called You Will Have Nothing. The Great Economic Reset. Their little card, their flyer they put out in Europe said, you will have nothing and you will be happy with it. You don't need anything. Just the party will take care of you. Big Brother will take care of you. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Let's just make it where the United States can't produce any emissions at all and shut down all these states like Pennsylvania with their beautiful clean burning coal. Let's just shut all that down while still letting countries like China and Russia and the whole Middle East, they don't abide by it at all. They don't need to. They don't need to. Think about it. It's an attack on Western civilization, but so far the United States has been able to hold out for a long time. Then in the middle of the night on November 3rd, water main break, they said. They called it water main break in Georgia. It was a leaking toilet that probably had a shutoff valve. Just to make sure that there was nothing to see, they put cardboard over the windows in the TCF Center. What about the Iran nuclear deal? That sounds like a lot of fun, right? What about the Trans-Pacific Partnership? What about the fact that China's Navy is now actually larger? And they say, many people do, even top people, including Ratcliffe himself. I just heard yesterday saying that the China Navy is actually bigger and more powerful than ours is right now. And their voting machines are certainly a lot bigger and more powerful than ours are right now. The Dominion voting systems, they're of China. They're of Venezuela. Remember Hugo Chavez and his boys? They're of a lot of places. But the last place they seem like to me is American. People wonder why people think that it's rigged. I'm sure I missed a ton of you guys. Let me try to catch up here on the chat just a little more. So one of you guys will make a great comment, and then I get off on a rant. But let me get back to your comments because they're probably a little bit better than mine. We've got Riley Quinlan. What's happening? I want to know if the Special Forces raiding the CIA data farm is true. He says, I would like to know that too, actually. I'm really curious myself. Super Sport, nice shirt. Got merch yet? I do not. I've sent some stickers to my Patreon supporters just because I have your address, you know. Other people have their addresses. This is my friend Rick, who came on my stream on my other channel on Friday. This is his Livingston County 2A shirt that he gave me. It's the same one. Well, not the same exact one, but he gave me my own, you know, just like his that he was wearing in my stream Friday. If any of you guys tune into this other channel, I can't remember the name of it, but somebody said it's a decent channel. Some other guy runs. It looks a lot like me. Pillbox Bunkers in the house. What's happening, Pillbox? How you doing, man? A-Dubs, what's up? He says unknown user nailed it. So let me go back up. What did unknown user say? This is like a half hour ago, but I don't care because people are going to listen to this the next day, and it's worth listening to. Some of you guys' good comments here. He says, if a computer has to scan or read the bubbles you filled out, it has to be programmed to register what bubble is what, and anything programmed can be bent to do what you want, and you're absolutely correct. And I would argue, too, if you read 1984, I have to keep going back to this because it's like 2020, 1984, and I repeat myself, unfortunately. People can actually be programmed, too. For some reason, people have it in their head that if the mainstream media tells them something, they just need to listen to it, no matter what. And this might happen to be suiting the Democrats' purposes right now, but it's a very slippery slope for everybody because what if it changes, I would tell those people. What if it changes? I'd rather just things be fair. May the best man in this case win. Trump versus Biden. I don't know. The only thing I could think of possibly that might have actually made sense why Biden could have won some of the votes. I don't know how these devious systems. I was watching my friend's video, Tap Rack and Roll. She's a good friend of mine, as you guys know. And she kind of put that connection in my head, like Dominion voting systems, devious. So therefore I call them the devious voting systems. The devious voting systems, maybe they're programmed. Just humor me, guys. Remember when he got on there and he said, I'm Joe Biden and I'm running for the United States Senate. So maybe what happened is a lot of the Democrats said, well, okay, I'm going to vote for him for president. All right. And the Democrats' dogs and various other deceased people that switched to Democrat, right? Halfway through the mail-in ballot system. So they said, all right, I'm going to vote for Biden for president. Now I'm going to write him in and vote for him for United States Senate because that is what Biden said he was running for. So people listened to what he said, and he said, I'm running for the United States Senate. And they put him in there. And then the devious system said, well, hold on a minute. We can't just throw this Biden vote out. So they tallied up his Senate votes, and then they said, well, we can't throw these votes away. I mean, I'm trying to use the en vogue terms here. This is called disenfranchisement. You can't disenfranchise the people. So all of those Biden Senate votes, what do we do with it? Because he didn't realize it, but he's not actually running for Senate. Just put them up there and just tally them all together. That is probably, of all the different weird reasons you could justify this or not justify it, if I had to guess, that probably actually makes sense more than any other type of way that he won it. So I think that's what happened, guys. You heard it first here. Patriot EDU has decided that Biden really did win these states because they added up all of his Senate votes with his presidential votes, but only in states that had Democrat secretaries of states and attorney generals and governors, though. Except for Georgia, which I don't know what you guys are going to do with your governor. Have no idea, Georgia. What are you guys going to do? Psalm 119 NOVE. What's happening, man? Should I pronounce Psalms like the AP declared presidential elect is? You guys remember that? Wow. Wow. You guys are saying I must be the only one? I'm the only one that finally figured out how he won. They added all the Joe Biden for Senate. We need something, don't we, guys? We really do, because look, people were talking about 1861. It was called April 12th. There was such a divide in this country, right? And they said no more. They said the courts aren't suiting us. The legislature has failed us, and they took up arms. As they did when they signed that beautiful document, when 56 people did July 4th of 1776. Paul Revere, right? The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. I don't know. I don't want that. But I understand why people are talking about it. Like, this doesn't mean you're nuts that you're thinking about these things. My problem is I'm a pretty peaceful guy. I don't want this, but how do you stop the steal? It's encouraging right now, guys. I'm encouraged to know that Texas, and joined by, at the very least, Louisiana, but probably, let me go through here because I have a list of states that are not necessarily legally enjoined yet, but are planning to. And I don't want to misquote this. You guys can look up your own sources on this. I'm a commentary channel. I'm not trying to report you guys the dead nuts news here, but here's how I understand it. Texas, Paxton, the AG, has officially filed the paperwork. He's suing, right? These states for breaking their own election laws, because the legislature is supposed to make election laws. That's what the United States Constitution says. I saw a press release from the official source of Louisiana that they're now seeking to enjoin. Now, also, it looks highly likely, at the very least, if not, maybe since I've been on here, they already have. We have other states such as Arkansas, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, depending where you live, South Carolina, and South Dakota. That's what's being reported as of right now that I see. It's pretty encouraging. Are you guys encouraged by it, or are you just kind of like, like whatever? I don't know. And I'm trying to use my comments thing where it pins the comments, and Susan's messing with my comments right now. Yeah, stop the steal now. Michael Science has got Georgian some advice. He wants to have a tug of war, he's saying. Get a big rope, he's saying. Put the governor there and all the people and have a tug of war over it and see who wins. I'm sure that's exactly what Michael Science is talking about. Philip says stop the steal now, and I agree. That's what I'm saying. Stop it. You guys are leaving some Dana Googs, how's it going? I saw you in somebody else's wonderful stream. Our friend Catherine Henry, which I'm going to be doing a stream with her soon, by the way. I texted Catherine after she was done with her stream and said, great stream, Catherine. Just giving her support like I always do, because we always need to support each other. And she responded back and said we need to get together in the next couple weeks and do a stream together. And I'm definitely always excited to hang out with my friend and do a stream with her. So if there's anybody out there that likes me or likes Catherine Henry or likes both of us, I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to be doing something again on here. I'm looking at you guys' chat here. I know I skipped some of you guys, okay? And it just skips on me, you know? It's just, if I missed anybody, please. I like all of you guys the same. I really do. DS said, didn't realize you were on Patreon. We'll sign up. I am, and I appreciate it. And I'm actually working on it. I'm not going to announce it yet, but like, I'm going to give you guys a sneak preview, okay? I'm actually working on an exclusive little Patreon stream for Christmas. Not like the day before, but like in the next week or two. I want to have a little private Patreon stream just to hang out with you guys. And I'm working on getting a very special guest on there. But I haven't finished paying my guest yet all the way off. So I need to wait before I announce that. Do you guys believe that? I pay to have friends? Ask Pillbox Bunker. He'll tell you what my rate is, how much I pay people to pretend they're my friends and come in here. Oh, the Toe Knob says this is all hearsay. The judges threw out due to lack of evidence. Here's the thing. I've seen a lot of evidence with my own eyes. Some stuff might be hearsay, to be fair, because I haven't seen everything, but I've seen enough. And if we even have the appearance of impropriety, if we even have the appearance that it was not a fair and free election, that alone is enough, where there needs to be much more actual forensic level audits, investigations. Some people say, and I don't actually disagree with them, just to start over and do it all by hand, count everything by hand. People have said that, and I can see where they're coming from. Threaded from my pleasure. What's happening, man? How you doing? People in Georgia need to vote in this runoff. Yeah, Matt, but they need to do more than that, right? Because these are going to be the same machines that were in the Maine election, right? They're going to be the same machines. So there's already people saying to themselves that they don't know because a lot of stuff happened in the middle of the night. And it's got to be really frustrating for you people in Georgia right now. What are you guys supposed to do? Like, in one hand, it's like this. Like, why would I even vote on this same rigged machine that I just watched rig an election not too long ago at all? But how can you, like, feel strongly about being an American and not vote either, though? Like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, I guess if I had to pick, I'd say, well, just go vote. But that's tough because I would never want to go vote on a rigged election machine. I don't work in the same town that I vote in where I live, you know. I have to drive to work, just like probably most of you guys do. And I remember I was real busy on election day working and had to be busy all the way up through fall because it was illegal for me to work this spring from the governor. You couldn't landscape and cut grass. You couldn't boat unless it was a rowboat. You couldn't buy seeds for your garden. You couldn't buy paint while you were locked down. Unless you were the governor's husband, then you could yacht and sail and do anything you wanted unless you were him, right? So working my butt off to still have the worst financial year I've ever had, literally. I was working all day and I rushed down there. I didn't speed or anything because I'm like, if I speed too much, I'm going to get pulled over and then I'll miss the election. I got there about 30 minutes before the polls closed and I cast my ballot in person and I felt very proud, as I always do, just to be an American and to vote. And now I sit here and think to myself, man, the personal sacrifice I went through to vote, which is nothing compared to the sacrifices so many other people who are much better Americans than me that gave their lives fighting for this country and the freedoms that we enjoy due to the sacrifice, people in wars and many other places that we don't even hear about often. I'm nothing compared to them, but I had to personally sacrifice, just like a lot of you all, to get to that polling place. And I voted in person and I put down and I said, I'm voting for who I believe will keep America great again. And I voted for a lot of people all the way down the ballot. And I actually voted for a Democrat, one Democrat. That's why I didn't vote straight ticket. If anyone's interested, I'll share with you guys why. I voted for one Democrat, to be honest with you. Now, I can't stand most of the Republicans either, but generally vote mostly Republican because they're like not so night and day different from my ideals for what America should be than most of the modern Democrats, which are just so far away. I'm like, no, we're not going to become a communist country. But on a very, very local level, I did vote for a Democrat. As a constituent of his, I told him, I said, you want my vote? You need to put your money where your mouth is. And he actually did. He actually did. And he actually earned my vote. And he stood for the Second Amendment on the local level. And I voted for him. And that's just the way it is. So if you guys remember, 2A sanctuary counties. That's how I met my good friends Rob and Rick and Jane Locke. And I'm going to miss somebody now that I'm naming names, right? But look, Scott down in Monroe County, my friend Scott. You know, that's what started the 2A Livingston. These are my friends here, right? We were fighting for 2A sanctuary counties all over the state of Michigan. Well, I was in Monroe County, and we were there pleading our case, demanding of our public servants. Greg Moore Jr., you remember him? He's been on my channel, my other channel. He started it up. Actually, he was the first one that started a 2A sanctuary county resolution in the state of Michigan, and that was in Monroe County. And my county commissioner, Mr. Jandro, he's a Democrat. Rather reasonable Democrat, but he's a Democrat. We don't agree on a lot of things, but I said, look, I said the Second Amendment should be nonpartisan. It should be nonpartisan. It shouldn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. The Second Amendment is a right, a natural right given to you by your Creator. God, Christian God, God otherwise, no God at all. It was given to you by somebody much bigger than government, much bigger. And none of our Bill of Rights should be up to debate under partisan lines. And I said, I've never voted for a Democrat in my life, but I'll tell you what, you vote for this 2A sanctuary county and prove you're 2A, pro 2A, because he said he was when I talked to him. He said, I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm a pro Second Amendment Democrat. And I said, yeah, right. You mean like the double barrel shotgun out back, but other. No, I'm truly pro 2A, he said. I want to provide 2A sanctuary where no local ordinances will have any effect in this county, right? That are anti-2A. I said, prove it. Vote for it. He reserved his right to vote, and he did vote for it, and I voted for him. So there you guys go. That's the story. Now, someone will take that out of context. I can already hear the fake news. Someone's going to get out there, because believe it or not, guys, I have a small fan club here and there that like to prove me wrong. We call them the fan club. They're going to say, Patriot EDU, 2A EDU. They call me many things. Said that he now votes Democrat. No, I voted for one Democrat, a county commissioner. He said, I support the 2A as much as you do. I said, prove it, buddy. Prove it, and I will vote for you. Because I believe in the whole Bill of Rights, like I said before, equally, but almost equally. Because I believe the Second Amendment's there in case they try to destroy all the rest. And see, these amendments that we all hold dear, those protect Republicans, and they protect Democrats, and they protect independents, and they protect people that are so darn lazy they don't even know anything that's going on in their country and don't even care. They actually protect it for those people too. So there you go. Tone Knob says, I love freedom and guns just as much as the rest of you. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm sure you understand what went down in that county commissioners meeting then, right? Cave Dave, what's happening, man? Still no notifications. Do you guys get notifications for this? I don't know. This is a small channel. I don't ever really expect a lot of people to come in here. But it is frustrating when people come back the next day and they say, hey, I would have really liked to have hung out in your stream, but I never got a notification, and they watch it the next day. So in one sense, I don't care how many people are in here, right? Like, who cares? But I do care, because the more the merrier, and it frustrates me when people say they don't get the notifications. Ring the bell. Some people say unring it and re-ring it. I don't know. I think what happened is this, guys. The money, right? I mean, it's been a tough year with Gretchen. I used to buy Susan. Hi, Susan. They call her Susan. Susan Wiki. I used to have to buy her flowers. I haven't for the last couple weeks. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I've not been on the good side of Susan lately, I don't think. We used to be a thing, but not so much anymore. Not so much. Oh, what are you guys talking about in here? We shouldn't need to have sanctuaries. I agree. We shouldn't need to. But we do, I guess. I don't know. It's a fine line because you know what? And Costy's not doing this. He just reminded me of a way of thought. People say we shouldn't even need this. And we shouldn't. Like the only thing we need is the Second Amendment, right? And one could argue, and I actually make this argument to people all the time, you really shouldn't even need that because our rights supersede any form of government, including even the late, great Thomas Jefferson and James Madison and Alexander Hamilton. These rights are actually like way bigger than they are. So in a way, we don't need any of it. We don't even need the Second Amendment. We definitely don't need sanctuaries. And you're absolutely right. And I'm just saying he shouldn't. And this is not what old Costy's saying. I know him, but let me move on from his because it reminds me of something. So other people, not him, will say, so I wouldn't even go there and try to get my local people to vote on 2A sanctuary. And I do kind of understand that. But here's the problem. These rights supersede our government. It's way over our government's pay grade, but only if the people are there to back that piece of parchment paper. Because you could take a piece of paper, especially as old as that piece of paper is, you could take one match and it would probably burn up before you even pulled the match away from it, right? So I'm still fighting, guys. That's the choice I make. I'm still fighting. I understand some people are so frustrated now. They're like, well, I'm not even going to vote anymore. I'm not even going to call anybody anymore because it's just not worth it and we shouldn't have to. And that person's right. You shouldn't have to. I'm going to keep fighting, and there's a bunch of ways we can fight. But, man, it seems like it's getting harder every single day. It's getting really hard right now. But I'm going to keep fighting a good fight as long as I can. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of evil out there, and evil prevails when good men do nothing. So we have to still do something. It might seem like it's kind of futile. But, like I said, I fought for 2A sanctuary counties in several different counties, and I was really proud of the state of Michigan, and I encourage all of you to keep fighting for things like that on your local level, just to let these people know we're here. We're not going away. And sometimes it actually does matter, you know? Sometimes it actually does. Gary Weisner, what's happening, dude? He said, I would have voted for him too, buddy. Now, once in a while on the local level, you can have, someone that's not necessarily the same party as you that's eye to eye. You know what I mean? Once you start getting into the federal elections, that's when stuff gets a little bit dicey because you've got things like whoever has the majority in the lower chamber of Congress, the House of Representatives, they get the committee hearings, right? And then same thing with the upper chamber, the Senate. They get the committee chairs for the hearings. And the chairs get to decide a lot of times whether something gets a hearing or it doesn't. They get to establish a lot of the rules for the floor and how debates are going to be held. They call it the parliamentary rules. So on the federal level, there's a whole nother game of chess. There really is. But on the local level, sometimes still, and it's pretty cool when it can happen, you can have a Democrat that just so happens to be just as pro 2A as, say, the Republican, or even in some cases the independent that's sitting right next to each other. So that's nice. Alan Kunash is saying, I'm the little guy. You're a David, they are Goliath. Your word reaches a lot of people. I don't know if my word reaches a lot of people, but look, this is a 50-50 thing, guys. Why do I do these videos? I'll tell you why. It's actually like, I don't know if it's exactly 50-50, but it's pretty darn close. It's literally like, I feel like a lot of despair right now in this country, okay? And I feel like we have a lot to lose and it's slipping away from our grasps. And in a way, I'm not afraid at all. But in a way, heck yeah, I'm scared. Like it's both, right? Of course. Like you don't want to just watch this great republic slip away knowing that it might never come back or it might come back in 1,000 years. So I like to think to myself, if I could help inspire, just offer encouragement to, I don't know, there's 40 people in here right now, 40 people, and maybe each of them and offered encouragement to one or two more people. I guess that's something, right? That's half of it. You know what the other half is? I need you guys. We all need encouragement from each other. So I'm trying to provide encouragement is what half of these types of videos in this channel is, but the other half, I guess I'm just being selfish. I really need you guys too. The encouragement, reading all the words of wisdom that you guys put in here, and it happens to me so much. I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it again. I'll sit there and go on a rant for like 20 minutes about something from the heart, no script. Sometimes I kind of look down because I'm just kind of, it's the way I ponder, you know. There's nothing down here. There's a phone and a really old school flip phone. You know, I like these for landscape, and this is so much better than a smartphone. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing here. Anyways. And I'll go on for 20 minutes, and I'll look up. And then somebody will have, like, a one-liner, right? That'll seriously be, like, what it took me 20 minutes to say. So that's what's cool is just reading the chat. All the, you know, sharing of information you guys give. All of the encouragement you guys are giving each other. People, you know, praying for each other. If you're a praying person, I know a lot of you are. And if you're not a praying person, you know, sending your best wishes, your good vibes, whatever you do. Just nice people in general, right? There we go. There's some right there. Keep the faith too, eh? And you keep the faith too. What a good guy he is. I'm just looking at his picture smiling. He's a good guy. So glad I met you, Pillbox Bunker. Seriously, man. People are talking about different ways to go through the ballots. Yeah, there's a lot of logistics to this, right? Philip saying the politicians offer change. We, the people, need to make them change. We are their boss. They do work for us. They don't really like to admit it. But sometimes you have to tell them and not ask. What's happening, Orion Fixer? A recount will accomplish nothing if they recount all the illegal votes again. I know. Hold a whole new election. The Dem and Republican witness. Everywhere votes are being counted. That sounds completely fair to me. I don't mind that. I mean, how could you mind that? Have a Democrat here, a Republican here, and have the other person in the middle count the vote. I have a Trump vote. Yes, yes, okay. I have a Biden vote. Yes, yes, okay. I have a Trump vote. Yes, no. Wait a minute. I think it says Trump. I think it does. I think it says Biden. All right. Set that one aside. Now that doesn't get thrown away. It doesn't get run through the machine with the error overriding that we heard mass reports of. Affidavits. Okay? Affidavits, which affidavits are evidence. Some people like to say they're not. I would let those people know this. If an affidavit, and then when they go to testify, becomes sworn testimony, that's actually how our legal system works. Because even if they find forensic evidence on the case of a crime scene, they say, we found a hair follicle at the crime scene, right? And they said that it matched the DNA of Orion Fixer. Did you know that's still not enough? They have to have an expert witness come in and say, hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am PhD, XYZ, nuclear physicist, John Smith. And I swear to uphold the truth, you know, to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And they put themselves up under penalty of perjury. And they testify to, yes, according to my expertise of reading DNA results, equipment, best equipment knowledge, college degrees, I can tell you that, yes, this DNA test does certainly put this DNA to Mr. Orion Fixer. That's called witness testimony, and it's used in like every single type of case there is, virtually. Now, there might be a case here and there that gets arbitrated, litigated, plea bargain. I'm saying these cases that actually go out all the way through, they're full of testimony, expert testimony, layman testimony. So for people to say, like, there's no proof before the courts, no. When you got in Michigan hundreds and hundreds of signed legal affidavits for people that are willing to testify, that's actually the definition of evidence. Testimony, sworn under oath testimony is evidence. So there you go. I just had to say that because I hear that argument so much. There's no evidence. It's a sham. Nothing to see here. Just don't even worry about it. Trump's a sham. It's all just propaganda. It's all over. And then people say, but the court spoke. And since the court said it, it has to be true. Oh, really? Really? Because all those people said that Citizens United was a complete and utter sham. You know what I would tell all these people? If the courts never get it wrong, if the courts have never gotten it wrong, then that would also mean, would it not? Okay, so right now, this is a premise by a lot of people that seem to be on the other side of the aisle from me. They say, the courts have spoken. District Court of Appeals, Circuit Court, Federal Court, State Court. A court can do no wrong. Everything they say is 100% true. Really? Because the High Court, the Supreme Court of the United States, said Plessy v. Ferguson was settled case law. They said it was totally fine to have a white and black drinking fountain as long as they were equal. Separate but equal was the law of the land by the courts in this country for how long? And I would wonder what my Democrat friends on the other side of the aisle would say when they say courts are infallible and every single court case is true. Is it only true when it's against Trump, or is it always true like you now say it is? And you actually agree that Plessy v. Ferguson was settled case law. Do my same friends on the other side of the aisle think that, do they agree with the Citizens United case? What about the anti-gun people on the other side of the aisle? Do you believe in Howler? And then you'll find out it all falls apart because now all of a sudden they don't believe in Plessy v. Ferguson, and I don't agree with that at all, actually. I reject it wholly. And clearly, the highest courts in the whole land get stuff wrong a lot. And they always will. Because in the Federalist Papers, they said, but if men were angels, we wouldn't need a government, but men are not angels. So, of course, the courts are going to get it wrong a lot. Just amazes me. And some of these people are my friends. I mean that. And they literally sit there and they say, the courts can never get it wrong. The courts have now spoken and it is over. Really? Because my rights didn't come from the courts. My rights came from God. It's really about all I have to say about that. Let me see who's in here right now again, hanging out. Let's see here. You guys are talking about corn pop right now. Let's see here. People get mad when I bring up the hypocrisy, I guess, don't they? Hold on a second. Let me switch over to this other window. Susan's messing with the chat on this window again, so I have to open up a new window. There we go. JB and Waters telling someone to go somewhere else. Is someone in here just trying to cause a little trouble? They might be. If they have a different opinion, that's fine. If they're just sitting here causing a disruption where people can't hang out, just get them out. Get them out. There's no reason. We're here for a serious conversation, but we're not here just to get shouted down. You know, you guys all have the right to speak to each other. If they're being cool, they're being cool. If not, just out. The First Amendment says Congress shall pass no law. It never said anything about Patriot EDU. Yeah, many of Trump's lawsuits are falling on deaf ears. That's true. I totally get it, guys. I get it. Trump's losing in the courts. People are actually in here telling me how to accept reality right now. That's interesting. If I actually took to heed some of these YouTube comments, I would think I was the dumbest person in the world, and I wouldn't even be able to get on here and speak. But luckily, I had good parents who taught me right from wrong and taught me to have good confidence. So I'm going to continue, regardless of how dumb and ignorant some people might think I am. I'm seriously not worried about it. Threaded for my pleasure says he is off on Saturdays now. Wink, wink. And I am actually starting to free my schedule up just a little bit too. I'm trying to work on getting another plow installed. I need a backup truck because the other one's getting a little bit old. As soon as I can do that, yep. You've been a little respectful, Tone, now, but I'll be fair with you. Let's call a spade because you seem like a guy that doesn't mind. And I do like you. I do like you, sir. But you're not afraid to run your mouth, so you certainly shouldn't be able to take any disrespect to this. You've called me a moron and an idiot all night, okay? And you've done it with the most respectful way. But at the same time, you think I'm the stupidest person that's ever existed, so just calling a spade like you do, because freedom of speech works both ways. Let's see here. A-Dub says that Christy, I heard Corn Pop was a bad dude. Hey, if Corn Pop won the presidency, that'd be fine as long as the vote was fair. Back to what Orion, I still have his comment up here on the screen. Back to what he said. Look, if there was a person in the middle, because everyone's got some kind of ideology, you know what I mean? So if the person that was in the middle said, vote for Corn Pop, and then the neutral, the person from one party on one side, one on the other said, aye, hey, put the vote in for Corn Pop. If people that don't really exist and their cats and stuff can vote for a president, right? Why couldn't someone that doesn't exist be the president? There's a novel concept. That might actually be interesting. Corn Pop 2020. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate the kind words. Chris C said this thing we have here is worth fighting for now. Well, I would say yes. Of course it's worth fighting for. Look, I could be laying back right now, drinking an iced tea, just watching the mainstream media, indoctrinating myself by CNN if I wanted to, right? And instead, I'm on here talking about this stuff because I think it is worth talking about. Amber's cat's worried food prices are going to go up. Yeah. Philip Tanulo says, if Corn Pop believes in the two-way, I'm for him, her. Well, him, her, or Z. Don't forget about Z. Him, her, or Z. Corn Pop at least wants guns, yeah. Oh, check this out. Speaking of politically correct, I'm going to read this other one real quick and see what you guys think about this. Because I started off saying there's beauties and then there's beauties in like another kind of way, right? So let me go over here and pull up. Hold on, give me a second here. Susan's going to mess with the chat from me now a little bit. But that's just kind of what she does. All right. Let me share my screen over to this tab. And this one was kind of interesting. Maybe you guys heard about this. You guys ever heard of like a Twitter war? This turned into a little bit of a Twitter war. All right. Let me go back over here. Michigan AG Dana Nessel and her son are devastated by Merry Christmas. Ooh. So this is from CBN News. Not real familiar with them, but as reported, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel had a social media debacle. That's not the only debacle she's had, but let me continue. To contend with over this weekend. Like Dr. Seuss's Grinch, it involved the words Merry Christmas. By the way, Merry Christmas, everybody. Seriously. On Saturday, President Trump was in Georgia campaigning for the runoff election for the two sitting Republican senators in that state. That's when he said to the enormous crowd, let me begin by wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Remember the word? Remember, we started 5 years ago and said, you're going to be saying Christmas again. And we say it proudly again, although they'll be trying to take that word again out of the vocabulary. We're not going to let them do that. And I remember Trump did say that. He said that a lot over the last 5-6 years. Breitbart News reports Nessel responded to Trump's holiday greeting in a now deleted tweet. This is always what happens, but by writing that her son was, quote, devastated when a store employee said Merry Christmas to them. Now we're going to quote her herself. This is we call him a beauty in many things. She said, I remember the first time I was at a store with my son and an employee said, Merry Christmas to us. My son looked devastated as he asked, are we the only two people who don't celebrate Christmas? I answered, no, and we are just as American as everyone else. Glad at Joe Biden knows that. And this was allegedly, according to Breitbart, tweeted by Dana Nessel on December 6th, 2020. Now, after receiving backlash from several Twitter users, several, you mean like hundreds of thousands? She deleted the tweet, then tried to respond to her social media followers that Happy Holidays was now a more universally accepted term at this time of year. Saying Happy Holidays this time of year does not denigrate Christianity. It simply acknowledges and respects the great diversity of our nation and includes each and every one of us who call ourselves proud Americans, Nessel wrote. But hundreds of Twitter users weren't about to let the Michigan Attorney General off so easily. One user who goes by the name of hashtag Boiler in Texas responded, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and Happy Hanukkah. That sounds like a reasonable person. I have no idea who they are, but that sounds about right. Why not? This reply was followed by several more replies to Nessel's tweet with simply Merry Christmas. John Bell, a retired football coach, replied, Christmas is a national holiday. Merry Christmas to you and your family. God bless. Another user responded to Nessel, Merry Christmas, Dana, and may God bestow great blessings on you and your loved ones throughout the coming year. And another user explained how he replied to both his Jewish and Christian friends at this time of year. There are only two holidays in December. I say Happy Hanukkah to my Jewish friends and say Merry Christmas to my Christian friends. I belong to neither religion, but somehow I manage these small gestures of goodwill without severe damage to my psyche, he wrote. Another user told Nessel that it's up to her if she chooses to be offended by kind words. And they said, being offended is a choice. If you're offended by an expression of goodwill, that's a you problem. If someone wishes me Happy Hanukkah or Ramadan, I just say thanks, as it's said with good intentions. Asking people of faith not to use these is telling them to hide their faith. Nope, he wrote. And I actually do agree with that last person that they were quoting from the Twitter war, you know. I'm a Christian. Why would I not talk about it? It's not like it's anything I admit. Like, I brag about it. It's great, but I say this every time, and I try to be it's not that I'm careful to say it. I just want to say it. I say, look, our rights endowed by your creator, that's what the Declaration says, right? It also says these are natural rights. Now, if for you that happens to be the Christian God, okay? If it happens to be, I don't know. There's literally people, and I'm not making fun of this because I just don't understand it, but people somehow do worship other planets. And if that's sincerely held and that's their creator, then that's what brought them here. Then that's who they would worship and who gave them their rights, right? Because I believe in the First Amendment and the freedom of the free exercise of religion. But to tell people that you get offended by somebody else, that's very intolerant. That's the opposite of what the left is supposed to stand for, right? They say they're tolerant of everybody. Well, unless you're a Republican, unless you're a Trump supporter, unless you're a Christian, unless you're a whatever, then all of a sudden they're not tolerant of you anymore. And I've actually seen the Jews, and I'm not a Jew, but I know a lot of good people who are. The Jews are getting persecuted beyond belief in New York City. In my opinion, blatantly targeted by Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio and others. I don't want to sit there and watch Jews getting persecuted. Like, this has happened in mass scale in this country and other countries, even a lot worse in the last 100 years. If I know somebody's Jewish, and I know they are, because you can't just know these things unless you know the person really well, I'll say Merry Christmas. And, sometimes they'll say Happy Hanukkah back, and I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'll say, well, Happy Hanukkah to you. And then they'll kind of say Merry Christmas. And there's usually, just a cordial head nod, like, cool, I get it, I know people for a fact that are watching this chat right now who are of the pagan religions that will still say Merry Christmas if they know somebody's, of the Christian belief. But the Attorney General, her son, devastated by it. Devastated by it. There she is right there. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, image, credit. Michigan.gov. You guys get to take a good look at her? Do you guys want me to keep that up there, or do you want me to? Who wants to keep looking at the beautiful Attorney General? Can't look at her too long, guys. She's a little bit too beautiful, and I'm way too happily married. So I'm going to have to stop sharing this tab because she doesn't like Christmas, but she sure is beautiful. What do you boys think? Gary Weisner, there we go. I worship the 762 by 39, and I still say Merry Christmas to people. There you go. David Candleberry. Now you guys are all like, well, I worship guns, right? Merry Christmas to my HKVP9. Freedom of religion. That is what it's called. But when you're a person of authority, the chief law enforcement official in the state, and you say that you're devastated by it, jeez, you know what I mean? Jeez. In England, they say Happy Christmas. That's my fave. You could say Happy Christmas too. I mean, look, I'm not for 1 minute trying to impose any of my beliefs on her. And I think you guys know me well enough by now. I'm not saying that the Attorney General has to wish people a Merry Christmas, but for her to get out there on her official Twitter page with the blue check mark and talk about how devastated she is, it might not be unconstitutional. I get it. She's not passing a law. She's not prosecuting people for saying it. But at the same time, it was enough where I understand where people wanted to call her out, give her a little lip, a little flack about it. And I wanted to give her a little bit of flack about it. At the very least, I don't think it was in good taste. And when you put yourself up as a very highly elected candidate and then get elected and become a very powerful public official, it's kind of what you get. You get the scrutiny of the public. And I thought that deserves some scrutiny for sure. So very true, David Candleberry. She does not like. You're right. I can gaze into her eyes. I can gaze into her eyes for hours and be like, Dana, where were you my whole life? And my wife is not worried at all because I assure you I have zero chance. And when I say I have zero chance, let me say this one more time, guys. I assure you I have a zero chance. Like more than what you guys might even know. Merry Pew Pew Christmas, K-Dog says. Right on. I know. It used to be that old song, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Well, maybe, but now it's like all I want for Christmas is like a box of 9mm or a box of 762 by 39 or 5.56 for you AR guys out there, right? 10mm? I don't know. You're like, screw the kiss under the mistletoe. I don't have time for that crap. I got to get to the store like within 5 hours before it opens to get that one box of ammunition, right? I think that's how a lot of you guys feel, and I totally get it. Because some of you are like, dude, I need to like be armed to protect myself from a tyrannical government or from really bad people that could come in the middle of the night and break into my home. But you know what? Do you remember a time when we could like have ammo for that and still like go out and fun and shoot for fun too? Because no, I don't believe that the Second Amendment in and of itself on its face, right, was written for us to go out and plink and have fun and to hunt. But of course, that's included under the Second Amendment. As I've always said, I'll say it again, the second is there, right, in case they try to take the rest, which includes life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if it makes you happy to go out and shoot, you're not infringing on anyone else's rights. You're shooting safely. You're not killing people at the range. You know, there's obvious A little bit of common sense with anything, but as long as you're just out there doing your thing, ain't hurting nobody, of course that's a constitutionally protected right. I mean, that is actually what this country was founded on, is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you have those, you really don't need much else. And it's not just that you're shooting the gun. What about the fellowship you get with people? Husband and wives, having a renewed bonding when they find guns together. Maybe they met because of guns, and that's what keeps their marriage strong. Maybe it's your old best friend from high school that you don't see too much, but you meet up every year to go to the range, or every 6 months, What about the fathers teaching their sons, or the grandfathers teaching their grandkids? It's so much more than just the pew. There's so much that goes into it. For many people, including me, I find it very relaxing. I know it sounds weird, but I think a lot of you guys will relate. Stressful day at work, the truck broke, this and that, bills are due. You're just like, oh, I'm stressed out. Go out to the range, just the recoil, the noise, just calms me right down, Went from wanting to stay up all night worrying to sleeping like a baby. So we use it for stress release. We use it to put healthy, wild, organic meat on the table, venison, whatever state you live in. It may be elk, wild pigs, whatever. Putting nutritious food on the table, There's many, many reasons we do this. And it sucks right now with this ammo shortage. It really does. It's not only taking away some people's ability, or hindering it at the very least, to preserve their life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness against a potential tyrannical government, against the common criminal down the street that they could encounter. That it's a safe neighborhood and they'll never encounter it until they do. And that's why many people feel the need to be armed always. And I'm always armed, so I understand that. And I live in a good area per se, right? But it makes it where it's hard to go out and have fun. And when that's your main hobby, is to have fun out shooting your guns, or target practicing, hunting, whatever your flavor is, right? Gets people even more stressed out. So I get it, guys. I get it. I want to go dump all kinds of lead down range. People literally leave me comments, and I get it. I almost get offended at first. I'm just a human, I'm like, what the heck? Who is this selfish? You know what? And then I stop for a minute and I'm like, no, I get it. I mean, I'd love to do it too. They'll say, hey, man, I want you to do a 1,000-round test on your G3C, just 1,000 rounds as fast as you can. I'm like, dude, do you know what that costs? Someone the other day said they wanted a 10,000-round torture test on my channel. It was actually the same exact pistol, the G3C, the Taurus. I almost got mad at first. I'm like, what the heck? He seriously just asked me to spend like $50,000 on ammo? Who does he think I am? I don't have ammo sponsors. But then I thought about it for a minute, and I'm like, nah, he's just cooped up in the house, and he can't shoot because the governor, or he can't find ammo. He just wants to watch someone else shoot. So I get it. I get it. It really does suck. But I think that's what everybody wants for Christmas right now. J-Dub, how's it going? Denny's plant-based journey. What's happening, man? Yeah, he says that's the truth. Denny's been looking for 30-30. 6'5" Creed. Bought some online a few days ago. My order was canceled. Yeah, that happens a lot, man. Sucks, too. Really sucks. Yes, I agree with you. Shooting is a therapy. The Tone Knob says it builds confidence and self-esteem. It's important. I do actually agree with that. I do. And it is a therapy for a lot of people. Bonding, you know what I mean? Like, there's just something about it. I say father-son, right? Because I guess I'm just a stereotypical 40-year-old bigoted white male. No, I'm not, if you guys know me. But what about daughters and mothers now? I mean, that's a thing. It is. A lot has changed just in my life. So I can't forget about all the women out there. Lots and lots of women out there shooting. Some women I heard now are even teaching their man how to shoot. I don't know. They might be. Ooh, Jeremy Wilson. Unless you train with Grandmaster Jay, then you're going to have an accident every time you have a gathering. LOL. That's what Jeremy said. That's an interesting concept, Rod Brown. Just how does a political figure take an oath on a Bible and not believe in a Christian holiday? There's some good comments and questions in here. There are. That's interesting. I don't know. Looks like some people are getting kind of excited. People are getting kind of excited for the shot, it looks like, in here. No, I don't think so. I don't think I've seen anybody excited for that whatsoever. Yeah, actually. David Canterbury. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I should probably get off of here. I probably talked too long. Holidays aren't Christian at their roots. I don't know. I've heard things about that. It just depends. Yeah. I will tell you guys this, though. The United States, there's a lot of tradition in Christianity because the founding fathers did set this up with Christian principles, and many of them were Christians. Most, you can't say all, but that's why there's still a lot of Christian influence in this country, no doubt. Orion says the whatever it's called is sugar water. They claim it may be 95% effective. This is interesting. I'm not saying it is or not, but I know the bigger point Orion's making here. I think this is the bigger point he's making. If you get this shot, it's 95% effective. But if you do nothing at all, it's 99.999 whatever percent effective. So wait a minute. If you get this shot, you have less of a chance? I don't know. I thought about that, though. I thought about it. 95% effective. But your odds are so much better than that, even across all of the vulnerable portions of the population. And that's not according to me. That's even like the CDC and the man admitting to that. Even the man admits that your odds are better than 95%. But if you take the water or whatever the heck it is, I don't know what's in there. I don't want to know what's in there. I'm not going to find out. Then you're at 95%. JB and Water says 62 on this channel and no thumbs downs. There's no way that's possible. If you guys did forget, though, give me a thumbs up. They're free. There's no way I have no thumbs downs on this. There was a few people in here that, I don't know. I think they might like me, but they don't like, I don't know. Everyone has, it seems like a couple people got mad at me tonight. I'm not here to make anybody mad, but I have certain convictions where I'm strong in my beliefs and I'm not going to back down on them. But it's not to try to get anybody mad, though. But it's online, so you never know how stuff will shake down, Yes, Amber, that's right in line with Denny. What happened to him? She ordered 9mm online 2 months ago. Was supposed to be shipped the 16th. Now it's been pushed back to March or unknown. God bless you. I hope it comes in. But just prepare yourself for the unknown, okay? Hopefully March. And actually, that was literally like, I wasn't even planning to say that, but I'll take the opportunity. I literally just said, God bless you to Amber. She seems like a really nice lady from the chat. I don't know if she's a Christian or not, but that's me sending her best wishes. When I'm like, God bless you, like, may God send his blessings. That's actually me being nice to you. It means I like you. You know what I mean? And I think most people actually get that. I really do think they do. I really do. So, whatever. And it's kind of interesting in here because some people are talking about, a lot of the founding fathers were atheists. And I know for a fact that everyone in here is not a Christian. And I'm not going to tell you what to be. I don't want you to be anything. Actually, I do want you guys to be something. Let me correct that. I want you guys all to be yourselves, okay? Because at the end of the day, if you're not a happy person, you're not going to provide positive energy to your friends and family. Your spouse isn't going to want you. If you're not happy and you can't stand on your own 2 feet, as soon as you can become happy and content with yourself, then you can start helping other people with what they need. And I believe in charity, and you should be charitable, but you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and stand for what you believe in, whatever that is. Because as I've said so many times, and this is the one thing we can never forget, our rights are greater than Alexander Hamilton, as great as he was, or James Madison, or Abe Lincoln. He wasn't a founding father, but he was great, right? And George Washington. No, your rights were endowed by your creator. Why? Because we only live on this earth for a very, very short time, and everybody's going to die someday. And then you have to have faith in what's going to happen to you next. So that's a very personal choice that everyone should have for themselves. And I would never tell you to believe what I believe in, but just understand this. When I said, God bless you, Amber, it's because I like you and I'm being nice to you. And I think any decent people should be able to understand that. And I think it's a shame that the Attorney General of Michigan cannot understand that. And I think it's despicable that she would bring so much hate that she has in her heart when she's actually was elected to be a mere public servant that works for the people of Michigan, and her hate isn't wanted here. You know what I mean? So that's literally what that means. And I don't even think I should need to say this. But in the year 2020, some of the stuff has to be said. People need to just stop and get over their stupid little self and realize sometimes someone's just trying to be nice to them, right? You know what I'm saying? Yes, Richard Head, our rights are inalienable. Yes, they are. So you just be true to who you are, and haters are going to hate, and there's going to be plenty of good people too. But at the end of the day, people telling you that you should be ashamed of yourself for what you believe in, how dare them? They don't have to walk a mile in your shoes. They're not responsible for your soul or your afterlife or your eternity, or even if you should believe in an eternity at all. But I'll tell you what, our rights are forever, and they're always going to exist. It just depends if people are going to exercise them enough where they're still at the forefront and they're accessible. That's really all it comes down to. People in Australia, I believe, have rights that were endowed by their creator, their God, their whatever. But it was pretty hard to exercise them when they did a confiscation and you watched all the train cars rolling down the tracks and watched all those beautiful firearms getting crushed and melted as the mainstream media celebrated it. And pretty hard to exercise it because the Australian government didn't give them their rights, and their rights still exist, but they sure took away the exercise thereof, the free exercise thereof, didn't they? Speaking of who I love, there she is right there. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Thank you, Tap Rock and Roll. JB and Water says no people were mad tonight. I don't know. Nobody was mad until Tap Rock and Roll pulled in here. Do a fact check for me, JB and Water. I don't know about this girl. I might have felt for those green eyes or gray eyes, or what color are her eyes today? Did I get a thumbs down when she came in here? Sending my people after her. She's going to kill me. That's okay, though. I'm only like 4,000 miles away. Ooh, you guys are talking about population control. I was talking about positive stuff. See, I was talking about positive stuff like in Australia when they put all of your guns in train cars and they melted them. You guys are talking about population control. Richard Head. That's interesting. What a concept there. Hold on, guys, real quick. Hold on a minute. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to give the illusion right now that I'm cheating. Hold on. Let me indulge here. You guys are way late. People are coming in, so hold on. Let me humor myself. I am going to give the illusion that I'm going to cheat on somebody right now. Hold on. Where is she at? All right. There we go. I'm going to sit here while you guys chat away so I can catch up on the chat again. I'm going to stare into her beautiful eyes. She's a beauty. Look at her there. She's called AG Dana Nessel. Wow, she's a real beauty. Beauty means a lot of things nowadays. All right, I'm let off the hook. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is. It doesn't matter how hard I try. As somebody said earlier, I assure you, I have zero chance. I have zero chance with the AG, so it's all good. And you guys that are Michigan actually get the joke, I hope by now. The AG of Michigan, they said, this is true, actually. I'll tell you guys a true story. Many, too many to actually count, many of the most beautiful women you've ever seen, they said, 2A EDU, Patriot EDU. That's, my twin brother. You could have any woman you wanted. And I said, yeah, it's true. Until I met the Attorney General of Michigan, and then no longer. I struck out cold. I had no chance. I had less than zero chance. So when I say beauty, yeah. All right, let's get off of there. I don't want to get in trouble here at the end of the night. Don't use the boat excuse. You're no different than the people that turn them in. Yeah, I mean, really, people are going to say a boating accident, right? And it's like, yeah. Yeah, I lost my guns in a boating accident. I don't know. The boating accident thing's funny. It's like meme culture, right? Like internet meme culture. I get it if you're just fooling around and you're just joking around. But really, if anyone actually thinks that the boating accident thing would ever work, I don't think so. And I think Susan's got me behind on the chat again tonight, which she usually does. Toe Knob says she's cute. I assure you, Toe Knob, with the AG of Michigan. Look, I'm sure you're a good-looking dude, your ladies. You have no chance. You have zero chance with her. Trust me. Trust me. Nobody has any chance with her. Like, you have less than zero. It ain't going to happen. They've actually said no man has any chance whatsoever. Yeah, the news is saying a lot of things, guys. The news is saying there's no chance. It's all over. Yeah. What are you saying, JB and Water? Oh, he's talking to Tap Rock and Roll. I don't know if she's still here or not. She might be. You never know where she's hiding out. Yep, Old Coasty says, I plan on turning in my ammo 1 round at a time. Yeah, the old saying, when they come for your guns, give them your bullets first, right? Oh, yeah. The Tone Knob. Yeah, right. Look at this guy. Did he really say that? Get out of here. I'm going to put this on the screen. Come on, man. You didn't really say that. About the AG? No. Okay, we're going to have a vote here, guys. Hold on. Tone Knob. Let's have a vote. We're going to have fun with this. Give me 1 second here. Don't go anywhere, guys. I'm getting ready to get off in 1 minute, but we're going to have a vote here. Okay, one more time. I'm going to have to close my eyes, but we'll... Just because I don't want to get caught cheating. Okay, look at this face one more time. It's called the Attorney General Nessel. Okay? So you can type in AG if you think she's the cutest, okay? Hold on, though. You're not getting your other option yet. AG versus Tap Rock and Roll. Let's get a quick vote. Who's the prettiest one? The AG? So AG or Tap Rock, or you could call her TR, for short. We'll get it. Let's take a vote here. Boy, Tap Rock and Roll is going to be really mad at me, guys, if she loses. So, come on, guys. I literally just put, one of my best friends in the whole wide world. Seriously, Tap Rock and Roll is one of my best friends ever. I just put her up in a beauty contest versus the AG of Michigan, which none of you have any chance with, no matter what. Come on, man. And my crafter says, is that a dude? All right. Somebody has to. Yeah. Okay. I'm surprised. Let me cast my vote right now. I love you, sweetheart. Talking to Susan, of course. Hi, Susan. When I talk about love on here, once in a while I'm talking to Tap Rock and Roll, but usually I'm talking to Susan, quite frankly. Okay, let's see here. Well, of course, A-Dubs. I know I'm the best looking one, A-Dubs. Come on, man. I didn't give them me as an option. Like, I wanted to give the girls a chance, like a little bit. Psh, come on, man. You guys are funny. Okay, let me tally this up. Let me take these and put them through the devious voting system. I was talking about you earlier, Tap Rack. I said, they call her Tap Rack and Roll. It's a great channel. And you're the one that literally made it click for me in that video you did where I'm like, okay, Dominion voting systems, DVS. And then you made it click. You're like, DVS? Like, you get it? And I'm like, ooh. So that's why I call it the devious. So I'm going to put all the votes in here in the devious voting system. Tap Rack and Roll versus the AG. Hold on a minute. Let me print these up. Give me 1 second here. 1 split second, guys. We're tallying them. They're coming in at 3,000 votes an hour. I mean, a minute. You guys hear that? Hold on. Hold on. Hot off the press. Let me tally these results. Completely non-biased. The AP has just called the fair and unbiased election of the beautiful, and we say beauty in several ways now, the beautiful AG Nessel, who no man has ever had a chance with, versus in a totally different way, very beautiful Tap Rack and Roll. And the Detroit Free Press, in conjunction with the AP, has now declared the winner. The votes just started. They just opened the polling, and the election has now been called. And it's unanimous. Certified. Nothing to see here. Patriot EDU has just won the election for the best looking person that there ever was. And it's not even close, and all judges agree. Uh-oh, the water main break. I'm going to have a boating. The water main is going to break so much. I'm going to have a boating accident in this shop right here, right now. That's voter fraud. See, Chris, see, my man. I told you. Somebody had my back. It's completely official. Looks more official than anything I ever saw in the presidential race. Patriot EDU is now. But hold on a minute. It's all good, sweetheart. You can still be my Hope Hicks, okay? I'm not going to take that. She's still going to come to the White House with me, so don't worry about it, guys. The AG has to stay in Michigan. And Tap Rack, otherwise known as Hope Hicks, you still coming to the White House. My people said she's the best. You guys are having fun with this. I'm glad. I wanted to end this on a light note because, yeah, there's a bunch of crap right now going on, right? But we're seriously all having a little bit of fun. Looks Detroit official. Oh, man. You guys are hilarious. Well, of course. You know what I still don't get? For them saying I'm not the father, he sure looks a lot like me. I mean, look at, we even have the same color eyes and everything. Sorry, guys. I just saw Susan. That was my Susan face. We do look alike, but after much legal fees and court custodies, they said, you are not the father. my great and great grandparents did not get a vote. His great grandparents, they were Republicans their whole life. They would have voted for Tap Rock and Roll. As soon as they died, and God rest their soul, they voted for Patriot EDU, uncontested. Merry Christmas to all, and all a good night. Cassandra. Wait, my grandmother hasn't voted yet. I still need to get hold of the cemetery. You guys are hilarious. All right, guys. I'm out of here. If there's any friendship left with Tap Rock and Roll, I'm going to have to try to salvage it. If not, I'm going to have to see what Susan's doing tonight. I'm just taking one last look at your comments. You guys are hilarious. Water main breaks, 10 votes just flipped to AG. That's what she thought until she saw the... I mean, you guys saw me pull this right off the press. I couldn't make it up. Like, this is according to... I mean, duh. That's not even my handwriting. Give me a break. All right, I'm going to take one last look at the comments. Oh, I am in trouble. All right, now that I'm so sad, I can't go on anymore with my life. Yeah, right. You guys really think I'd get upset about that? Psh. All right, guys, I'm out of here. And yes, JB and water too. Of course, her eyes are better. Like, duh. All right, guys, I'm out of here. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. And I'll see you soon. And God bless Texas. All right, thanks for watching. And have a good one. And I'm going to try to butter up Tap Rock and Roll at the last second. Many people says it's too late, but it's all good. I got this, guys.